So today we are making this super cute velvet baby sweater. This pattern actually goes all the way up to a child size 10. So this right here is the 12-month size, and the velvet is a little different to work with. So I chose some stitches that I thought worked really well with this yarn. And this is a great pattern for girls or boys. You can do it with the stripes or without, or make up your own color pattern that you want. And we have some simple ribbing and some front and back post stitches along the neck. We will work a front piece and then a back piece, and then we'll make our sleeves in a trapezoid shape and attach them. This is a very simple pattern, and I hope you enjoy. All right, let's start with our supplies. I am using Bernat Velvet by Yarn Inspirations, and this is a number 5 bulky weight yarn. So of course, if you don't want to use velvet and you have a different bulky weight yarn that you want to use, that is fine, just as long as you can get the appropriate gauge. And I am using this indigo velvet and then softened blue. You only need a little bit for the stripes, or make up your own color pattern if you want. We are using the 7mm, also known as an L, crochet hook. You will need your yarn needle, your scissors, a ruler, and 3 stitch markers are very helpful if you have those. If you don't, you could use a paper clip or a safety pin, or even just a scrap of yarn. Okay, so first we're going to check our gauge, and this is probably one of the most important parts in the whole pattern, because the way the pattern is worked out is by multiplying the gauge, and so if you don't have this number correct, your sizing will be off. So we're going to start with a slip knot. And we're going to chain 10. Okay. So as you'll see, there's not a lot of stitch definition with this yarn, and so you will kind of get used to it as you go. The gauge swatch is great just for practicing as well, because it is a little tricky. It took me a little bit to get used to this yarn. So if you've not worked with velvet yarn before, but you can do it. Okay, so we're going to do a half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3, half double, just in that top loop there. Okay. And so just take it slow in the beginning while you're getting used to finding your stitches, and make sure you count every row, because that will help you get used to this. Just the lack of stitch definition is a little tough to see your stitches, but we're using a large hook, and this is a chunky yarn, so once you get used to it, it's fine. Okay, so we should have 9 stitches. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 8 half double crochets, and then there was that we skipped 2, and we half double crocheted in the 3rd, so that skip 2 counts as 1 stitch. Okay, so that's 9 total. All right, so we will chain 2 and turn. Okay, so the chain 2 counts as a stitch. So normally we would skip this first half double crochet, because that's normally what you do. If the first one counts, we skip and then we go in the next. But I'm finding that with this chunky, bulky yarn, you're going to have a hole there if you skip. So my solution was to do a half double crochet 2 together. So we will insert our hook in the first half double, pull up a loop, and then go in the next one, pull up a loop. So now we have 3 loops on the hook, and we finish our half double. So that way we only have 1 half double crochet, but we don't have that hole. So that's just, I thought that was a really nice way to fix that little problem. Okay, so we'll be using that throughout the pattern. Instead of skipping the first half double crochet at the beginning of the row, we will do a half double crochet 2 together. Okay, so all the way across we're half doubling, and then when we get to that chain 2 at the end, just do your last half double in the top of the chain 2, and make sure we count. We should have 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Wow, put this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that chain 2 is the 9th. Okay, so I'll show you that one more time. Chain 2. Okay, we're going to half double crochet 2 together to start our row. So no yarn over, just insert in the first half double, pull up a loop, insert in the next half double, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, so we have 2 stitches there, including the chain 2, and just half double across. Okay, and then in the top of the chain 2, all right, and then we'll count one more time to make sure there's 9, and just go ahead and count every row because it will help you get to know this. If your edges start to be uneven, just go back and count each row and make sure that you have 9 stitches. So we're going to keep doing that, repeat that row for a total of 7 rows. So we have done 1, 2, 3 rows. So I'm going to keep going until I have a total of 7 rows. Okay, so that went really fast. This chunky yarn just moves so quickly. So I did 7 rows and I have 9 stitches, and the idea is for this to be about 4 inches wide, so I'm a little bit short. That's okay. If it was like, you know, full ½ inch short, that'd probably be a concern. You would want to use a larger hook. If it's, you know, a ½ inch bigger than 4 inches, use a smaller hook. And then also consider your height. It should be 4 inches high as well. So just take that into account as you go. You just want to get as close as you can to that 4 inches, just so you know that your sweater will be the right size. And this is really good to practice. People have different ways of holding the hook. I've noticed as I get comfortable with the yarn and a stitch, I start to work faster, and then my stitches tend to get looser. That's just me. I don't know if you're like that, but practice. Maybe make a few gauge swatches if you've never worked with this velvet yarn before, just so you can be sure you have the right gauge. Okay, and just to orient you, we are going to start at the bottom of the front of the sweater, and we're actually going to start with this ribbing here, and we're going to be working this way along the bottom. So we're going to make our first piece this way, the long way, and then we're going to turn it, and then we'll start stitching up the body. Okay, so here we go. This is the size 3 months. I'll have all the way up to a size 10 on my blog for free. So check the description for the link to the free pattern. So I have a slip knot on the hook. I'm going to chain 7, Okay, then we're going to slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. So just insert your hook in that second stitch, pull through. The next one, pull through. This tends to be easier to feel than to see, so you're just looking for that little bump. Insert it right underneath the bump. Okay, so we slip stitch the whole way across. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slip stitches because we had originally chained 7, and then we slip stitch in the second chain from the hook and then slip stitch in the rest of the stitches. Okay, so we have 6 stitches here, and now we'll chain 1 and turn, and that chain 1 will not count. Okay, so let's see, sometimes it's hard to see here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's the little bump. So I counted backwards just to help me know where I'm inserting my hook there. Okay. Okay, so there's 4, 5, 6. I promise this gets a little easier as you go. It's a little tricky in the beginning. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1 and turn. Okay. So if it helps, you can count from this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. And you'll feel as you do it. It's just your hook just naturally wants to slip into the right place. It's just a little difficult to see. Okay, I'll see. 4, 5, 6. Okay, so yeah, it's looking a little wonky, but it will straighten out as you go. This first chain row tends to be a little bit larger. You could, if that bothers you, you could size down to 6.5 millimeter just for the chain, but I didn't find it made a big difference in the way my sweater looked, so it was fine. Okay, so we're just going to keep going with this little part. This is the slowest part of the sweater, so don't get discouraged with just this part. Once you get past the ribbing, then the half double crochets just kind of fly along, and that part of the sweater goes really fast. But I really thought this ribbing was really pretty and kind of a nice alternative to front and back post double crochets. Sometimes we just want to do something different, you know? Okay, so we're just going to keep going with this until we've achieved the width of our sweater on the front. So you'll just keep on repeating that row until we get to 9.5 inches. So I'll just measure it right there, all the way to 9.5 inches there. Okay, so we wanted it to be 9.5 inches here, so I'm just going to take out maybe one row here, 1 or 2 rows. Okay, so we have about 9.5 inches for our ribbing. Okay, so now we are going to half double crochet along this long edge here. So what's helpful is to take your stitch markers and fold this in half, and this is where you could use a paper clip or a safety pin, even a scrap of yarn. So we're just going to fold that in half so it's even, and place our stitch marker to mark the halfway point. And then especially when you get to the longer ones, it's even helpful to mark half of that, especially when you get to larger sizes. Nope. Okay, because what we're going to do is chain 2 and then 24 half double crochets evenly along this top edge. So the halfway point will have 12 stitches plus 12 stitches. And then we could even break that down to 6, 6, 6, and 6. Okay. So it doesn't really matter if your tail is on the bottom, that's fine. Mine's on the top. It doesn't really matter there. Okay. So just going to okay, so we were at the end here, at the end of this little slip stitch row like this. So then we're going to chain 2. So now we're working this way. Okay, so we want 6 half double crochets here. So we're not skipping anything. We're not doing HD 2 together, half double crochet 2 together. We're just 6 half doubles. Okay, I'm going to put 2 right there. Okay, so we're not counting the chain 2 right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 5. And then we'll put 1 on the stitch marker spot, 6. Okay, so now we want 6 half doubles to get us to the next stitch marker. So there's 1, and put 2 in that same spot, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's gonna be too close. Let's do in the same spot, 4, 5. Okay. And then 6. Okay, and then 6 to the next stitch marker. I'm looking at that and I'm seeing that's a little off. It's not really halfway, so I'm just gonna move that over. Okay. So there's 1. I'm gonna put another one in that same spot. 2, 3, 4, and then another one right there. 5, and then 6, and then 6 more to the end. So I'm going to do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then make sure I get 1 in the very end here. 6. Okay, so we just did 24 half double crochets along this top edge, plus we did a chain 2. So we have 25 total stitches. We get to chain 2 and turn. Okay, and so now we're coming back to what we talked about in the gauge swatch, where the chain 2 counts. And so normally we would skip the first half double crochet, but when we do that, we notice it leaves a hole. So instead of skipping, we're going to do half double crochet 2 together. So insert your hook in the first half double, then in the next half double. We have 3 loops on the hook, pull through all 3. So that was a half double crochet 2 together, and we just made 1 stitch. So we have the chain 2, the half double crochet 2 together, And now we just do half double crochets the whole way across. To the end of that row. Okay, so I'm almost to the end of that row. Here's the last half double. And then we have the chain 2. So we will half double in the top of the chain 2. Okay, so now we should have 25 stitches because we chained 2, we had a half double crochet 2 together, and then 23 half doubles. All right, so that's what you do for each row. You just repeat that row, chain 2, we'll turn, chain 2, half double crochet 2 together, half double crochet across, half double crochet in the top of the chain 2 until the total height reaches 6.5 inches. So putting our little ruler right there, we're going to just build up until 6.5 inches there, repeating that exact same row. Okay, so I've built that up to 6.5 inches. See right there, we have 6.5 inches there. So we're done with that part. Okay, so now we're going to start forming our armholes. So basically to do that, we are going to eliminate 3 stitches on the end. So the way we can do that is chain 1 and turn. We're going to do 3 slip stitches. So in that first half double crochet, slip stitch, and the next one. And that just, for those 3 slip stitches, just get us over. This is going to make our, just these little arm openings are going to make the sleeves fit a little better since this is a drop shoulder sweater, and will reduce bulk in the armpit this way. So we did 3 slip stitches. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1 just to give us a little height here, half double in the next stitch. Okay, and then we just keep half double crocheting until we have 3 stitches remaining, and we're going to leave those unworked on the opposite side. Okay, so I half double crocheted all the way until I have 3 stitches left. So there's the chain 2 and then 2 half double crochets here. So that's 3 stitches. So we eliminated 3 from the front and 3 from the end. So that's 6. We had 25 here. So that means we should have 19 half double crochets. And we're not counting that chain 1. That just was to get us up to the next row, so the chain 1 does not count. Okay, so you can count those and just double check. So now we just keep on doing what we were doing here for the next row. So we're going to chain 2 and turn, half double crochet 2 together, and half double crochet across, okay, so I'm working my half double crochets across. Oop. Okay, so when I come to my last half double crochet here, I'm going to insert my hook, pull up the loop, and the next row is going to be the new color. So the way we change colors is we get to our last stitch, and then we have 3 loops on the hook, and for our last pull through we just yarn over with the new color, pull through, can tighten that bottom, tighten the dark blue there. Okay, so now we are ready to go with our new color. So I chain 2. It's tricky. I don't know why. Okay. Okay, then we turn. You can just pull those, make sure they're nice and tight. And then we keep going as usual. Half double crochet 2 together. And the whole way across. When we get to the end of this row, we're going to change back to the dark blue. In the same way, do a row of the dark blue. Then at the end of that row, change to the light blue again. And do a row of the light blue. Okay, so I've changed to my dark blue and I've turned. I just want to show you one thing I like to do to reduce the amount of ends we have to weave in. So I have this little tail here, and I just take it and I bring it up, just if you've never done this before. And then I'm working them as usual, but I'm just working over the tail. And that works well, especially with this type of yarn that's not like real slippery or anything. It tends to hold that little tail pretty well. And then you have one less tail that you have to weave in at the end. Okay, so I have finished with the upper, this is like the armhole area. So just to review, I have this first row that we did here when we were paying attention to bringing in, and this has 19 stitches. Then we did another same color. Then we did light blue, dark blue, light blue, dark blue. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows here. So of course, if you want to change the colors, you can. So then, just as an aside here, I won't make a separate video on how to do the back because it's pretty much exactly the same. So you'll start exactly the same. This whole part in the beginning is the same. The only difference, of course, will be, you know, don't change colors, just keep it all the same. And then we're going to add one more row. So the back will come up 1 row higher than the front, so it will lay better. It will fit better. So it will have a total of 7 rows for this section right here. Okay, so let's talk about the neck shaping. So we haven't cut the yarn or anything, we're just going to keep on going. Okay, so now we're going to chain 2 and turn. And we're going to start the same way with our half double crochet 2 together. Okay, so we have 2 stitches there, the chain 2 and the HDC 2 tog. Now we do just 3 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then we stop there. So now we chain 2 and turn. Half double crochet 2 together. And go to the end. And turn. We'll do that one more time. Okay, and cut your yarn. Okay, so that is one side of the neck. And I'll show you how to attach. You're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, for the other shoulder, when you can flip your sweater over, attach your yarn at the corner, and just do the exact same thing that we just did. Work your 5 stitches for 3 rows. Just one thing I noticed that's a little bit fiddly, this might not matter to you, but this was worked this way, then that way, then that way. So since this first row is worked right to left here, I kind of want to start this here so I can keep going on the in the same direction. If it doesn't matter to you, don't worry about it. Start at the corner. Okay, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Insert my hook in that sixth stitch from the corner. Chain 2. Half double crochet 2 together. Okay, chain 2. Okay, and then in the top of that, chain 2. So, and I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And then our last row. Okay. So then I will cut that, and then I will also mention here for the back, you're only going to do 2 rows on the shoulders. So remember, since we had 7, we'll only need 2 rows on the shoulders instead of 3. So the front we did 6 plus 3. On the back we'll have 7 plus 2, but the same width and everything. We just want the back neck to be slightly higher. All right, so go ahead and weave in loose ends, make your back, and then we'll talk about the sleeves. Okay, so before we start the sleeve, let's join the front and the back together. So I have my front piece and my back piece here. So to join these together, we are going to join them at the shoulders right here. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this like so and get my yarn needle and sew those together with a mattress stitch or your favorite stitch. So just starting at the corner, tie a knot, and then just go back and forth along each of the shoulders here and here to sew those together. Okay, so I joined this together at the shoulder seams, and just to show you where this is going, we have our armhole here, and next we're going to make our sleeves. I have one finished already, so the sleeve will just fit right in here like a little puzzle piece, and we'll sew that on. And then once we have that sewed on, we'll fold everything in half and do the side seam of the sweater and the side of the sleeve as well. And then we'll be almost done. We'll just finish the neck. Okay, so let's make the sleeve. So we're going to start again exactly as we did with the sweater with the ribbing. So we're going to do the exact same thing, same width and everything. So slip knot on the hook, chain 7, and then slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, and each chain across. All right, and after each row, just count to make sure you have 6 slip stitches. Chain 1 and turn. And now we're just going into that top bump right there. And then we'll chain 1 and turn. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to keep going with that until for the cuff, we're going to go to 5.5 inches. So you'll measure all the way up and just keep going until you hit that 5.5 inches. Okay, so we have our cuff. It's 5.5 inches wide or long, however you want to see it. And so again, we're going to find the halfway point here. And if it's longer, you can, if you're doing a larger size, you could mark the quarter points as well, and that will help. We're going to do 15 half doubles here. So we'll do 8 on each side. Okay, so picking up where I left off here at the end, now I chain 2, and now I'm working along this edge here. And we just half double and just space them out as evenly as you can. As long as you have 8 on one side and 8 on the other with no large holes, it will look good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll do 7. Okay, so there's 8. I'm going to do 1 in there again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Nope. Okay, I think I might have done one too many. I only wanted to do 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, because we want 15 half doubles and then the chain 2. So we'll have 16 total stitches. Okay. Okay, so we have 16 stitches along here. Now we're going to start increasing. So the way we're going to increase is just, instead of doing the chain 2 and then the half double crochet 2 together, we're just going to half double crochet. So that will add an extra stitch to every row. Okay, so chain 2, half double in the next stitch, half double in every stitch across. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end here. Here's my last half double in the half double, and then half double in the chain 2. Okay, so now we should have 17 stitches, including the chain 2. Okay, and now is where we're going to start changing colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here in this last yarn over when I still had 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to lay my light blue over, pull that through so I'm ready for the next color. Okay, so chain 2 and turn. And again, we're going to half double in the first stitch, so this will be an increase. And half double in each stitch across. Okay, so when I get to that last chain 2 at the end of the row, I'm going to switch colors again. So just pull that up. We have 3 loops on the hook. Lay the blue over the hook and pull through. Okay, so chain 2 and turn. We're increasing again, so we just half double in the first stitch. Work the whole way across as usual. Okay, so just to show you where this is going, we're going to finish this row. Then we'll do another row of light blue with the increase. Then we're going to switch back to the dark blue, and that will be, we'll only do dark blue from then on. So dark blue, light blue. Then we're going to do 2 more rows of the dark blue and increasing. So by the time you're done increasing, you should have 22 stitches and 7 rows. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I finished increasing, and so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, I skipped one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. And along here we should have 22 stitches now because we increased every row. So that's it for the increasing. And now all we're going to do is just our regular stitch pattern. So chain 2, half double crochet 2 together, half double crochet, crochet across, and we're just going to keep doing that until the stitch height, let's see, we're measuring right here in the middle, perpendicular to the cuff. So our sleeve height will reach 9 inches. Okay. So we'll get started on that. So chain 2 and turn, half double crochet 2 together, stitch across, and then just repeat that. When you get to the 9-inch height, leave a long tail. I'll just save you a step when it comes to seaming the sleeve as well. But once you do that, go ahead and weave in all your ends except for that long tail, and then we will attach the sleeve. Okay, so we have our 2 sleeves. We can set one aside, and taking our body here, we're going to match this up right here and thread your needle with the long tail, or if you forgot to leave the long tail, just you can just tie a knot, start with a knot, and we are going to just stitch this together with a mattress stitch, and you want to start in the corner, so I'm just going to move my little tail down here. Okay, maybe one more. So I'm just wanting to match up this corner right here, make sure everything, and then start in this little corner here. And it is really helpful to do this on a table. So I know we tend to crochet in our laps on the couch most of the time, which is the best, but some steps just are much easier at a table. So just take it slowly and go back and forth, just to make it nice and neat. And whenever I get something like this and it's kind of tedious, I remember my motto: do it right and do it once. Because many times I've done it wrong and then had to do it again. So best just to go slow and take your time. All right, just go continue all the way around, and then you'll do the other side. Okay, so we have attached both the sleeves and we have that all ready to go. So this is the wrong side with the stitches, and so I'm just going to take that and fold it in half. And now we have our sweater. So now all we need to do is start at a sleeve, do the mattress stitch again all the way down, and then repeat for the opposite side, and then we will do the neck. Okay, so we have attached both the sleeves and we have that all ready to go. So this is the wrong side with the stitches, and so I'm just going to take that and fold it in half. And now we have our sweater. So now all we need to do is start at a sleeve, do the mattress stitch again all the way down, and then repeat for the opposite side, and then we will do the neck. Okay, so I've seamed both sides and turned it right side out, and so we're all done. We just need to do the neck. So I'm going to turn it over to the back and tie a slip knot on the hook. And just starting in the back middle, going in just approximately the middle there, I'm going to slip stitch to join it and chain one. Okay, so now we will half double in that same spot and half double in between each stitch around the whole neck. So when you get to the corners, if you want, you can do a half double crochet two together if it's not laying flat, or if it puckers or anything. If it's too many stitches in the corner, then do a half double crochet two together, or just to leave plenty of room for a baby's head to get through the neck opening. You can just you can not do that, just to make sure there's enough room. So the neck might be you just want it to be big enough to accommodate the baby's head, but we're going to do front and back post crochets, so that tends to be a little bit stretchy and not too tight, so that'll be good. So I'm not really finding with this size that I need to do any half double crochets in the corner. Sometimes with the larger sizes, maybe when the corner is more obvious, you might need to do that if it starts to pucker, but that's up to you. Just see how it looks. Okay, so now come back to the beginning of the round. I'm going to slip to join in that first half double crochet there. You can, just flip it over and see how it's looking there. Sounds good. Good. Kind of rounded out the corners. It's still nice and big. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1, and our first half double will go around like a front post. This will be a front post half double crochet. If you want to do just regular half double crochets, you can. The next one we'll do back post half double. This just gives a little bit of a ribbed look to the neck. Just makes it a little more interesting. But you could also just do another round of half double crochets. You could have fun with color here. It'd be kind of cool to do this round in the light blue, just this last round. You could also have fun with color on just the ribbing. So maybe just some ideas are to do all your ribbing in the light blue and then do the rest of the sweater in dark blue. Be kind of fun. You could do a color blocking. You could do like a dip dyed kind of look where you had like the bottom half of the sweater could be dark blue and then the top half light blue. The same thing with the sleeves. Kind of fun. You could incorporate some stripes with that. So you can share some ideas if you want in the comments, and maybe we can all share some color ideas, ways to make it your own. And then when you do make your sweater, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Teal and Finch, because I would love to see if you changed up the colors, or how you did it, or if you used a different chunky yarn besides the velvet. That would be fun to see too. Or if you just did it exactly like mine, feel free to share that too. I'd love to see it. So, because it really helps me when I'm doing these tutorials, if I see what people make, that really means a lot to me to see that. Because that's half the fun, is just sharing it with you all. Okay, so I'm almost back to the beginning. This is so soft and cozy. I kind of want one for myself. I really want a cardigan version for myself. So like a white one or something. It'd be so cozy. Like wearing a big marshmallow. Okay, so here I am. There's the last stitch. I'm going to slip stitch in that first half double and pull through. All right, let's see how that looks. All right, there we go. We're all done. I hope you enjoyed making this sweater, and subscribe to my channel and visit my blog, tealandfinch.com. And remember, this goes all the way up from 3 months to size 10, so you can get the link to the free pattern in the description. Thanks a lot.